Good morning, folks. How are you doing? Today is the 20th day of January, 2023. I am Scott. That down there is Bo. There's no co-pilot in the co-pilot seat. And that, boys and girls, what you are looking at right there is just fine for Facebook/Meta. Facebook, Meta, WhatsApp, Instagram. That, boys and girls, is just fine, according to the people who run Meta. Nick Clegg, specifically. You know what isn't? Do you know what a crime is? Well, for those of you who are just listening, when I say that, I'm pointing to a picture of a guy from the Azov battalion standing in front of a wall full of Nazi memorabilia and Ukrainian flags featuring swastika. A full-on white supremacist Nazi holding what appears to be Kalashnikov with very bad intent on his face. Not a fake, not a phony fucking white supremacist from the FBI's new recruits bureau, marching up and down the square to try to make people think that not the white supremacists are out in force in America these days. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about somebody who's called a white supremacist and a Nazi because they voted the wrong way. I'm talking about a real fucking Nazi. A real fucking Nazi. Somebody who hates black people, brown people, Jewish people, gay people, socialists, leftists, Russians. A full-on fucking dyed-in-the-wool swastika tattooed to his fucking belly Nazi. Facebook, Meta, is lifting the fucking ban on these people posting, using their site to literally recruit like-minded folks from across the West. And that started yesterday, day before yesterday. And where's the fucking news on this? But you know what? Let me show you something else. I wrote this in 2012, 10 years ago. Globalist billionaire Mayor Bloomberg wants to force cities to take slaves. Billionaire Bloomberg, fascist, wanted to force cities to allow the government. By the way, folks, this is what's happening right now. When we talk about what's happening on the border and 250,000 people coming in just last month alone, and they are being loaded up on buses or loaded up on planes and sent to different locations all across the fucking country, they're not doing that to fucking even out the fucking voting situation. They're doing that to send cheap labor to places that need them. For all intents and purposes, slaves. That's happening right fucking now. Right fucking now. And I wrote about it 10 fucking years ago. Mayor Bloomberg wants federal government to force cities across the country to import undocumented dirt cheap labor in order to bring back industry to America. His recent speech before the Council on Foreign Relations makes it clear that if their neoliberal agenda doesn't continue to entice poor, destitute workers from Mexico to work like slaves in underpaid jobs here, hell, they should just have the Mexican authorities round them up and ship them to places like Atlanta and Detroit. In short, Mayor Bloomberg wants the U.S. government to go into the business of forcing slaves on various cities across America. Does anyone remember the last time people were shipped into this country for cheap labor? They were actually called slaves. I wrote that. He put this forward in the Neoliberal Partnership for a New American Economy, co-founded by Rupert Murdoch of Fox News. That's why Tucker Carlson always tells you the whole purpose of bringing these people in is to change voting demographics. The purpose of bringing them in is to attack the wage structure. Now, I tell you about this that I wrote 10 years ago. That's happening right fucking now. Not to pat myself on the back, but to let you know I'm going to post this on my website and put it on my fucking Substack. You know what that will make me? A felon. If she gets what she wants. This is Barbara Lee Jackson, or Barbara Jackson Lee. This is her HR House Resolution 61, Leading Against White Supremacy Act of 2023. Leading Against the White Supremacy Act of 2023. Let me read you a little bit of what this is. White supremacy-inspired hate crime, felony, puts you in prison. A person engages in a white supremacy-inspired hate crime when white supremacy ideology has motivated the planning, development, preparation, or perpetration of actions that constituted a crime or were undertaken in furtherance of activity that, if effectuated, would have constituted a crime. Part B, the conspiracy. A conspiracy to engage in white supremacy-inspired hate crime shall be determined to exist if at least one of whom, the two people, at least one of whom published material advancing white supremacy, white supremacist ideology, antagonism based on replacement theory or hate speech that vilifies or is otherwise directed against any non-white person, group. And such published material was published on social media platforms or by any other publication, with the likelihood that it could be viewed by somebody who was predisposed to engaging in any action in furtherance of white supremacy or hate crime. What does that mean? That means, boys and girls, I'm going to post this on my fucking Blogspot channel, my Blogspot website, obviously on my BitChute channel, this video, and my YouTube channel, this video. And I'm going to put this actual article that I wrote on my archive after I'm done making this video on my Substack. If this bill of hers goes through, that will make me a fucking felon. And they could put me in jail for a long period of time because someone might read it and take some kind of action. Is it not true? Is it a lie? No, it's true. It's absolutely 100% true. You know who else would have qualified as a white supremacist under that definition? A guy by the name of Cesar Chavez. Do you know who he is? Was? He created a labor union for migrant farm workers and was very protective of migrant farm workers and helped improve the lives of migrant farm workers, of people who actually put food on your table for Thanksgiving, who start off in the South and follow the fucking season all the way up on the West Coast, all the way up on the East Coast, picking the food that you fucking feed to your family and your face and your children. And they used to get paid, and they still get paid very, very little for it. But because of Cesar Chavez and the work that he did and the death threats that he endured. They got paid a little better. They got treated a little better as migrant farm workers. Do you know what he didn't want? Unregulated open borders. Why? Because it would depreciate the value of the work that was being done, and it would be a race to the bottom to pay them less and less and less and less and less. I believe Cesar Chavez was Mexican. He was a person of color. He would be described as and arrested for being a white supremacist because he opposed open borders, unregulated open borders. Now, for publishing this, I could be arrested if that bill goes through. You know who won't be arrested? Nick Clegg.
Your business. Where are you? And you changed the name, obviously. You changed the whole business. Where are you in the process of moving from a traditional social media company to something quite different, I think?
Well, we're in a process of transition because, of course, the building of the metaverse is not an overnight job. This is going to take years. We're at the foothills of building the metaverse. This great transition from all of us having a phone in the palm of our hands to actually putting something on the bridge of our nose and being able to communicate with each other as holograms. All of that future will materialize, but it'll take billions of dollars in investment. It'll take sort of,
and no one gives a shit. The metaverse is a ghost town. No one gives a shit. It's a major failure. Looking at someone's avatar walking around, and all they're fucking doing is beating off, looking at each other. That's all they're fucking doing. Freaks. Total, absolute fucking freaks. It's a failure. This was October 2022. Metaverse is a failure. The games are stupid. I tried Decentraland, which is a token I stupidly own. My avatar keeps banging into walls, even if I pay for the premium service, skins or whatever they're called. I cannot imagine the experience being all that interesting. The token is 81% off year to date. It's garbage. No one's going there. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. No one's going to use it. You miserable rat fuck. This guy, by the way, is an Orange Book liberal out of the United Kingdom. He also staunchly opposed fucking Brexit. Staunchly opposed Brexit. He is a major piece of shit, and so, of course, Facebook hired him. And then they changed the name to fucking Meta. He is a absolute fucking piece of shit fascist. That's what Orange Book fucking liberal means over there. He's a fascist. So why am I talking about Nick Clegg? Because it was Nick Clegg who has announced that Metaverse is reversing its position on the fucking Nazis. It's okay to be a fucking Nazi in the metaverse. It's okay to be a Nazi in the metaverse and to use the metaverse to do what? To do what, Scott? Recruit young Nazis. According to Nick Clegg. Literally recruiting Nazis. Literally recruiting Nazis. Content about the notorious Azov regime will be freely posted on Facebook and Instagram again. Ukraine's neo-Nazi Azov regiment, which has close ties to extremist far-right movements around the world, will no longer be suppressed on platforms owned by the U.S. tech giant Meta. That's according to Kiev's Independent, a Western-backed Kiev media outlet, which cites the U.S. tech giant as a direct source. The designation has now been lifted, according to its report, but only for the National Guard unit and not its auxiliaries. I guess the more Nazis can't, but Azov can. The war in Ukraine has meant changing circumstances in many areas, and it has become clear that Azov Regiment does not meet our strict criteria for designation as a dangerous organization, a Meta spokesperson was quoted as saying. The pledge to change policy was purportedly made to Ukrainian officials by Nick Clegg, Meta President of Global Affairs, and Monica Bickert, Head of Global Policy Management at Facebook, during a meeting, of course, at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Ukraine's digital transformation minister, Mikhail Fedorov, who broke the news on Thursday, thanked Meta for a balanced and important decision, remarking that Facebook and Instagram, two social media platforms owned and operated by Meta, were powerful tools for spreading the truth. Fast forward, an expose published by Time magazine in January of 2021 reported that online recruitment and propaganda on Facebook allowed the Ukrainian movement to become the hub of, quote, a network of extremist groups stretching from California across Europe to New Zealand, end quote. The online platform first designated Azov as a dangerous organization in 2016, but Facebook's efforts to suppress its content were not particularly successful, the article noted at the time. They have been designated a fucking extremist group trying to recruit white supremacists across the Western world. Time magazine pointed that out, which should be fucking obvious. And so now, of course, Nick Clegg, Orange Book fascist, says, you know what? We're going to let you back on the fucking platform. We're going to let you back on the platform and other platforms to reach all these billions of people they reach, so you can find and recruit more like-minded fucking Nazis. More like-minded fucking Nazis. I guess like Sean Penn. That's fine. Come on back. Post your propaganda. Write horrible things about homosexuals, Jews, black people. We don't give a shit. Come on. We need more fucking people to throw in. We need more fucking dumbasses for cannon fodder. So welcome back, you fucking Nazis and white supremacists. Meanwhile, when I post this, which is not racist, which in fact is the opposite of racism, because I'm not pointing my finger at fucking the immigrants who are leaving neoliberalized shitholes all across the world and being forced to come up here, work for $1 more a fucking hour in this neoliberalized shithole called the United States. I'm not pointing my fingers at them. I'm pointing my fingers at the Rupert Murdochs, the billionaire fucking Bloombergs, and of course, the Biden administration that is doing exactly what Bloomberg wanted 10 fucking years ago. He's doing it right fucking now. And who does that hurt? Well, according to Cesar Chavez, that hurts hardworking fucking migrants who are already here trying to fucking earn a living. Because it won't just fucking depreciate wage levels for white people in America. It'll depreciate wage levels for everyone in America. So what I'm doing is anti-racist. What Nick Clegg is doing is full-on racist. And yet, I guarantee you, if this thing passes, I'll be arrested. Well, fucking Meta, Facebook, continue to promote Nazis and white supremacists. I mean, yeah, this is Sheila Jackson Lee. He talked about her. Tucker Carlson mentioned her yesterday. And this is her bill, H.R. 61. Leading Against White Supremacy Act of 2023. You think maybe they'll go after Meta? You think they'll go after Nick Clegg? Think they'll arrest this motherfucker? Of course not. Because believe it or not, using a large platform like Facebook or Meta or Instagram or WhatsApp to literally recruit racists, white supremacists, Nazis, that's not white supremacy. What I wrote about in terms of open borders, according to them, is that's the fucking bizarre world we live in. That's the bizarre world we live in. But we do it all the same. I will post that article up. You can go by and take a look at it, or look at my Substack. The link to the Substack is down below. It is free. You don't have to pay anything for it. It's been about a month since I posted anything. Usually with Substack, what I'm doing is I'm just posting stuff as it relates, stuff that I've found in my archives. I wrote a lot. I mean, I could spend all fucking morning putting up stuff about comprehensive immigration reform and Comprehensive Immigration Reform Act of 2006. People think that the Comprehensive Immigration Reform came from the Obama administration. It did not. It came from the Bush administration. It's written by the neoliberals and a couple fucking neoliberal Democrats. I could post this all day long. And maybe I should. Rather than just let it go fucking to waste sitting on my computer where no one sees it. Anyway, there you go. Facebook if being a real Nazi is okay with Facebook now. It's okay. Just so long as you don't vote the wrong way, just so long as you don't have any questions about our rigged election system, and just so long as you don't talk about the glorious open border situation that we have now, where we are literally scooping them up, putting them on a fucking vehicle, and shipping them to whatever fucking big business needs fucking cheap labor. Oh, what's happening? What's happening in Atlanta? Labor costs are high. Yeah. 6 buses, please. Atlanta. That is literally what they're doing. It ain't about getting them to vote Democratic, folks. It's about attacking the wage structure and bringing down the standard of living for working class Americans. Whether they are born and raised here or they are naturalized, it's about undermining the working class standard of living. so that these billionaires can make more money. And that's why billionaire Bloomberg wanted that 10 fucking years ago. And he got it. But if I talk about that, if I write about that, if I post that, I could really I could go to prison. I could literally go to prison for writing that, for posting that. Whereas Nick Clegg and the owners of fucking Meta and Facebook promoting real Nazis and white supremacists so that they can recruit and find more Nazis and white supremacists, that's just fine. Wow. Anyway, I thank you for your time. Have a good one.